Oh, hey there. How's it going? How's your day? Hey, I'm Matt Logan. I'm speaking Triumph Over Tragedy. This is not a polished, perfect podcast like me. Say that 5 times fast. This is not a polished, perfect podcast, but it is real. You're going to get me being real. You're going to get my guests being real. We're going to just really speak triumph over tragedies. I'm going to sit down every week with guests, and we're going to get real. We're going to get relevant. We're going to talk about their stories. We're going to talk about what they learned through those things and those stories. And I hope that you enjoy this. I hope it helps. Be a difference maker. Triumph over tragedy. Good morning, Tosh.
Good morning.
I am all the way in Florida today just to sit down with you and have an incredible conversation. You know, you have an amazing story, and there's a lot of different levels of that story. And today's, what brought me here today was remembering hearing about when you were sick in Brazil an awfully long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that... And tragedy to triumph to me, Tasha, is taking steps in just a little bit of a forward motion sometimes.
Yeah. Yep.
And so introduce yourself.
Well, first, welcome to South Florida.
Yeah.
I am Tasha Tringale.
See, I didn't want to say that in case I messed it up.
It's okay. Tasha Tringale. Stick with Tosh. It's easier to say and remember. I do a lot of fitness modeling and in Miami and Palm Beach area, and I teach fitness and meditation. So teaching fitness and meditation in the area with private clients, group classes, it's wonderful to be here and
follow
do
you
what
on
I do.
social media too, and you have really... they're just terrible locations to do these things too, aren't they?
It's awful. The beach is awful.
Yeah. You're teaching yoga on, I think I've seen you on paddle boards.
Paddleboard yoga, beach yoga, in-home privates with women in the community in Palm Beach and Jupiter, even down to Miami. It's really a terrible job.
It sounds like it. And what I see, I mean, I've seen you on a paddleboard with sharks swimming underneath you. You know, and it's like, whoa.
Well, sharks are not included in most of my classes. Okay. Those were chummed in. We did that for a photo shoot for a surf magazine. So, sharks not included. I don't want my business to go downhill hearing that. Right, so I got
it was a cool photo for sure.
It's so fun. It's really neat to know. I grew up in Minnesota, and now I'm down here in South Florida doing that. For a long time now, too. Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. I was in this area about 7 years ago, and my life was extremely different at that time. And
both of ours were.
True, absolutely. And it brings back some just incredible memories. And, you know, I came in yesterday, and... thinking about today and, you know, those memories, I could have gone either direction with those. Yeah. Right? I could have been terribly sad.
Yep.
And it could have just shut me down, and I wouldn't have been able to enjoy the beach and some of those things. And I have chosen to do things differently than a lot of people. And that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
To take things that happen terribly, whether that's the loss of a dog or a job or a loved one or an illness or any of those things, taking steps forward, living every day.
Yep.
Sometimes not to the fullest, but we try to live to the fullest because, let's be honest, it brings us down.
It can overwhelm. The grief can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So proud of you for choosing to be happy in this time and season, not letting the past have the hold on you.
Yeah. You know, and the pain can be like an anchor in our lives, but if we understand it's an anchor is temporary, and anchor does not control the boat.
Yes.
Any of those things, so we can pull that anchor up, and it might take a little while to get that anchor up out of the dirt and the mud and the mire, but if we choose to do that, we can.
Yeah.
So you What's your favorite thing to do here? What's your hobby? I mean, you talk about the yoga and the paddleboard and the modeling and things like that, but what do you do for like fun in Florida?
Those things you just listed are what I do for fun.
What?
And I get paid to do what I love, which is cool. It really turned into a job, a way to make ends meet for me, because I was doing what I loved. So I was out surfing at the Juno Beach Pier when I booked my first modeling job.
Is
and
that
it was,
right?
it was they needed an extra model. They were one short. People were coming in from New York to do the shoot. And somebody said, "Hey, do you have an agent around here?" And I said, I can book on the side. So,
Right.
yeah, those are the hobbies that I do for fun. And now I get to share with other people, which is really neat. I love sharing the open ocean with people, paddleboarding on the open ocean. It's turtle season right now.
Sure.
And the beach
I saw
that we're on.
The beach, they've got all those flags and
the hatchlings are popping up, and the sea turtles out there. You'll see them, and it's better than SeaWorld.
Yeah,
it's awesome
I
to share with people. Yeah.
I have a confession. I was out there with my cell phone and watching last night some of those little areas, hoping maybe to see some of those hatchlings happen.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So
sunrise is a good time
is that
too. So come back and go out at sunrise.
Right.
That's when I see the most dolphins too. So
that's just so
I'll take
incredible.
people out on the open ocean, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll say, notice what you see, what you hear, and how you're away from it all. And it's almost on cue. The dolphins show up.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's so cool. They end up paying me extra, tipping me like I had any control over that.
Yeah. It's like push
so
the
cool.
button for the dolphins, right?
Yeah.
If only.
I thought about paying my husband to come out with like a shark fin or something to really spice things up once in a while, and I thought that's not funny.
Yeah.
It's
well, it
funny
depends
for
upon
me,
the person.
but yeah.
Yeah, it could be scary.
Yeah.
Jaws might come to mind or something, right?
Yeah.
Not that was real. But
no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not.
It's fun.
It's a beautiful place. I also love just to get outside and bike and put down the phone and get away from it all.
Yeah, and you promised me that we'd go out bike riding.
We are going to bike after this.
Yeah, it was raining a little bit earlier, but hopefully it won't anymore. So
those rain clouds pass. It's kind of like an analogy for life.
Yeah,
it feels like when it rains, it pours.
Right.
And that's here in South Florida too. It rains hard, it pours, and then the sun comes back out.
Yeah.
So
it's
be encouraged for your season right now. If it feels like it's raining and pouring, the sun will come back out.
Yes,
it will shine again.
Absolutely. Even in the Midwest where we have winter time, as you know.
Oh, brutal winters.
We have winter time for 12 and a half months a year.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Yeah. Or wait, did I do the math right?
Yeah. It's a solid 6-7 months.
It is, yeah.
That's why I ran away.
Right. It's a good call. If there's any vacancies around, let me know.
I will.
Anyway, Brazil, that's a cool place to visit. I think you have a connection there now again with Brazil and things like that maybe you want to talk about. But let's start with your age, when you went and why you went.
All right. So I went a couple times when it was a very difficult visit there. I was 20 years old, 21 actually. And I went back to work in my sister's orphanage. We adopted a 12-year-old from Brazil, and that's a whole nother story, but very neat. To adopt a 12-year-old when my parents already had 4 teenagers. They're like, we need another. And one that doesn't speak English. Yeah. So we went over there.
She didn't speak any English at all?
She didn't speak any English. We were paying for English lessons, but when we got there, she didn't speak any English.
Okay.
Now she speaks great English, and man, I love her so much. But we went back. We took her back to work in her orphanage.
She just paid you, didn't she, for that, right?
Yeah. So we went back a few years later for her to see the girls she grew up with and to work in her orphanage and to teach English. And when we went back, I got dengue fever. And dengue fever is a lot like malaria.
Okay.
With dengue fever, there's a couple different stages of it. 1 and 2, you're outpatient. 3 and 4, you're inpatient in the hospital. And 4, it takes your life. Mm-hmm. So I was there. We went with a few girls from my college also.
Okay.
We took a whole gang of us.
Yeah.
It was quite the experience. And my friend and I got really sick and just couldn't keep food down. We were vomiting. When the vomiting turned to vomiting blood, we knew something was wrong. And I remember my dad carrying me into the hospital and them putting in IVs. And they said, okay, she must have had bad water or ate something that she should not have. And they sent us home again. And we were walking into this little hotel where we were staying, and I took a sip of water, and again, the vomiting turned to blood. And he said, I can't keep you here. Took me right back to the hospital, said, I'm leaving her. You have to help me. And in Brazil, once they heard that 2 American tourists were dying of the dengue fever, they didn't want to lose their tourism. So they started bringing in the best dengue doctors that Brazil had. And I feel a little emotional thinking back to it.
That's okay.
Yeah. We weren't guaranteed life. They were saying how bad, how many bites we had and how bad it was, that it was not looking good. And there was a night where the doctors came to my mom and dad and said, you need to decide to bury Tasha here in Brazil or fly her body back to Brazil. You need to make plans because she's not going to survive this. And I was saying the same thing to them.
Yeah.
I was giving them my last wishes, saying, there's no way I'm going to survive this. On the days I felt even a little better, I didn't want to live. The pain was too bad. Dengue fever is called the bone-crushing disease. And it literally crushes your bones, and the light hurts your eyes, and you can't keep food or liquids in. And when the doctors told my parents too, my dad thought, okay, this isn't Tasha talking through her pain. This is serious. And they told him to walk across the street to the casket shop and pick out my casket.
Across the street?
Yeah, from the little hospital. And he walked across the street and he couldn't go in. He just fell on his knees and began to weep. And his weeping turned into a prayer. It said, God, I've been telling you, you have to heal Tasha. You have to heal her. You made her. I know you can heal her. And in that moment, he had a prayer of surrender and said, if that's not your will, then let it be. But help me. Give me the strength. And I can't do this alone. I can't do this. He couldn't go in. He couldn't pick out my casket. And it was that night he offered a prayer of surrender that instead of losing me, I started to make a turn for the better. So it was such a long process, and in that, I did not want to even survive or fight it. It was too much.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
It was kind of like the trip from hell. In a sense. The pain in my body, I can't even describe it in words, but it definitely was taking the life.
Scale on a 1 to 10, you're talking like a 20. It sounds like, just off the charts.
Unbearable in the physical body. And when our physical body's hurt, then our spirits are low, and it really can start to play with your mind. So our mind is powerful. When we let the physical body control our mind, then the depression and things set in, because it's all very real. It's very painful.
Absolutely.
So it was.
But talk about that control a little bit. That's interesting to me. You see all these different things that are happening today, and it was out of our control, and collectively, sure, it is out of our control. But what control did you have?
I had the control to make a choice to fight for my health, to fight to make it a good day, because I was not having a good day. I had bad day after bad day. A good minute. A good minute to choose to enjoy the minute. And in the hospital room, the window panes were broken and the mosquitoes would fly in, and the dengue fevers from a tropical mosquito. So I would have panic attacks, and the fear would overcome me that they're back here again to officially take my life, the mosquitoes. And it sounds so silly now, but that was a real fear.
Well, that's where they get like movie ideas from, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in places you're at.
Yeah.
They that fear that overtakes us and things like that, we in our minds just create all these creatures and all these things and problems. And I mean, that's where you're at right now.
Definitely. And
not right now, but right then,
at that time. Correct. And to make matters worse, one of my nurses at the time, I recognized a new nurse. I said, "Where's the other nurse?" They said she died from dengue fever. And I'm laying there trying to survive dengue fever.
Oh my gosh.
So, it was hard to find a minute to enjoy the day because the pain was so bad. The grief was really heavy. The struggle was real. And I remember just laying in the hospital bed. My friend and I both got sick. In our hospital room, we only had one mattress. The other person was on a board, a piece of wood. So we would...
And being that kind of pain on a board. Wow.
So we would take turns sharing the mattress, and the mosquitoes are flying in the room. We're both just hoping it would be over soon.
Sure.
And to find a minute in that day to enjoy that day, I really had to focus on my breath.
Okay.
Like focusing on my breath, just breathing in and breathing out, knowing that my nurse didn't have another breath to take. That she lost her life, but I still have life.
Yeah.
And I did slip into a coma, and in that time there was peace, there was no pain.
Yeah.
The Lord was holding me without a doubt.
So you remember those moments or some moments in the coma?
I just remember complete peace.
Sure.
No pain.
Yeah.
And when I came back out of that, I noticed the pain in my breath. And then the tears started to flow down my face, knowing that I was back, and so was the pain.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be there, and it was the breath. I would breathe in, breathe out. Sometimes it's all that we can do in our pain is just take one breath at a time. Yeah. And it was remembering that my nurse didn't have another breath to take, but I did. So I would just breathe in, breathe out, and then focusing the mind on something positive. Yeah. The positive in it was I had a family member there who loved me. Yeah. I had a friend who was still alive. Yeah. We were both alive. And I had to learn to count my blessings looking at what I did have instead of what I didn't have. Yeah. And that was the biggest shift. Sure. Enjoying the breath. Yeah. And then finding a blessing in that storm.
We were just talking about the beautiful ocean and the sunshine and the beach, the wildlife, turtles, the dolphins, and those are the blessings, those memories. You know, I could have gone down that path and we could be talking about all the terrible memories that I have, but I remembered those things, you know, in my moments too, the beach when my daughter was alive and here with me and all those things. So talk a little bit about the timeline though. And then I want to hear more about those positive blessings that you would look at and count.
Yeah. And the timeline, help me understand.
So when you went down to Brazil and you got sick, and now are we talking about weeks, days at this point in your story?
We were there for a few weeks. Okay. When we got out of the hospital, when I say we, it's my friend and I who both had dengue fever. They took us from stage 4 to stage 3 because we survived. Yeah, it's like sing that song, I'm a survivor. Right. I'm going to make it. We did. But they wouldn't let us leave the country of Brazil until our blood platelets were changing. The thing with dengue fever, it contaminates your blood. And if you were to get cut, you would bleed to death. Sure. So there's several different side effects. And they had to wait till our health was okay enough to fly back to the States. So we were there for quite some time. And it really, as I was fighting for my health, it's planted those seeds for what I do today in teaching health and nutrition, fitness, helping other people, and how it all starts in the mind. I had to find those blessings. I had to take care of my physical body, and I had to learn about different supplements and vitamins and a natural way of living because my body needed all that it could could get. And so did my mind.
Are there still side effects then? Is that what I hear you say?
There are still side effects. I've had eye surgery. My hair was falling out. It eats at your vision, your teeth. I've had eye surgery. My eyebrows are tattooed on because the hair, again, was falling out. And I've lost 3 adult teeth. I've had my gums replaced. They take the skin off the roof of my mouth and they replace my gums. Something pops up years later and it lays dormant in the body. I just had a jaw infection. They drilled through a tooth and removed part of the jaw. So there's issues, there's side effects. And when something new happens, even today from that time, when my body was shutting down, I have to go back to the blessings. You have to see it. You have to notice the breath. God's given me breath. I'm going to breathe in and breathe out. And then I'm going to find something I'm thankful for. And that's today, the sunshine today. It's for someone that loves me. It's for just the gift of this moment and seeing again what I have, what I don't versus what I don't have. The timeline of it though, we ended up going back to the States, and I feel like that's when the struggle really started. I couldn't do a lot of things that I could normally do. I couldn't walk upstairs. I couldn't go to the bathroom by myself. I was so weak. And it just, it was life-changing as far as just being thankful now for the health I do have. And helping others see that. So when we go through the storm, I'm looking at how my storm turned into this beautiful life that I have today. Like, I wouldn't have the life I have today. I wouldn't care so much about health and meditation and the fitness of it all. And I wouldn't be able to help other people through it.
And you probably wouldn't care about the turtles as much and the dolphins and all those things either.
It's so beautiful. I'll walk out to the beach. I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful. And a guy fishing off the beach will say, what is it, your first sunrise on the beach? I'm like, no, I'm out here every day. It's amazing.
And you have to find those things, whether you're on the beach or whether you're in the snow. Right? You have to find
the beauty in it. And then be grateful for your breath, the breath that you have, and find a blessing. Fast forward a few years after that, a tree falls on my dad, kills him instantly. And what he had taught me in that storm back in Brazil of a surrendered prayer. Like, God, I'm not going to point my finger at you and tell you what to do. I'm not going to make this prayer a speech. I'm going to say, if this is your will, then let it be, but help me. So it was at his funeral I spoke, and I said one of the most powerful things that my dad taught me was the power of surrendered prayer. And I'm standing there as a kid in her 20s that just lost her dad from a tree falling on him. And my prayer was, Lord, if this is your will, then let it be, but help me. Help me. And even if you don't necessarily believe there's a God out there, I promise you, he will show him yourself if you cry out to him and say, God, help me, help me. And he helped me through the loss of my dad. The same time my marriage was falling apart, went through a divorce. Again, that death and the divorce, the illness, all these things have helped me help others today and take those steps. So going back to the steps, every day, choosing to take care of my body, my mind, choosing to enjoy my breath, choosing to find a blessing within the day. Life-changing. Life-changing. Now, people pay me to help them through the storms of life.
Because you have a platform that is a legitimate platform, right? I mean, you've walked through those storms, you've had these struggles, and you've had to triumph through it. But it sounds easy.
Oh, wow. It's so not easy.
I mean, I sit here and in your home, and, it looks like it's just been an easy life. It looks like these decisions that you're talking about that you've made have been just a super easy thing to do.
It's almost harder, Matt, to choose to do it. Than to not do it. So it hasn't been easy at all. Somebody just said, I look at you and you're like this happy fairy princess that like floats around. One, I'm like, totally not a happy fairy princess. That's like not a compliment. But looking at what she meant by that, it's the choices that I'm choosing that people see, wow, she's so happy.
Right.
She's full of love.
Yeah.
She's choosing joy today.
Yeah.
And the Lord's given me all those things because I've asked for them.
Right. Right.
I, though, wouldn't say it was easy. Before you got here today, I was taking the steps in the right direction. We're always moving forwards or we're moving backwards.
Yeah.
Everything's changing all the time.
Yeah.
And
there is no stagnant.
No.
It doesn't exist.
No. Not in our relationships, not in our own well-being. So today I woke up and I chose to take those steps, and I have to do it because I teach it to people. I lead it.
Yeah.
So I woke up and I took care of my physical body. I started to stretch and move around. I did a little workout. Even if there wasn't much time, I still moved the body. I moved the body, drank what I needed to drink. I drank a lot of fluids in the morning. We wake up dehydrated. We think we're hungry. It's just thirsty. Right. So drink till you're full. Yeah. And then move the body. And then I started to meditate and to calm the mind, to set the day. And I do that after I move the physical body, because then the mind isn't racing so fast. And the meditation, it's just awesome. And some people say, I don't know how to meditate. Well, let me tell you. You're always thinking about something. Meditation is what we're thinking on.
Yes.
So if you're fearful and anxious, you're meditating on the wrong things.
Right.
So to shift the mind towards something positive. Yeah. And it really helps me throughout the day then. If I do feel down, or I do feel heavy in grief from the past, I will think on my meditation. Mm-hmm. And people will say, well, how do you pick a meditation? How do you know what to think on? Yeah. I start with Proverbs, the book of wisdom. Proverbs, there's 31 Proverbs, one for every day of the month. Yeah. And also Psalms. Psalms is this beautiful cry of when things are good and bad. And it's this cry, this song. And then Proverbs, the book of wisdom, I have to read that. I need all the help I can get. So I'll read Psalms and Proverbs for whatever day of the month it is. So I read, today's 23rd, so I read Proverbs 23 and Psalms 23. Yeah. And that was my meditation. That's what I thought on.
Thinking on those things that are in that body of scripture. Yes. Yeah, that's good.
And if you are not a person of meditation, if you don't take that time to pause and think on those things in the morning, it's really hard to set your day up for success.
That's a really good point. And I'm terrible at I'm very active, right? And I've got my hands involved in a lot of things. And I think most of them are really good things. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's healthy, right? Yeah. That you just, I'm busy and I'm writing this and I'm helping this and I'm doing that. And obviously trying to make ends meet in the middle. Yeah. But that's really good advice for me, that just take a minute or two in the morning. That's
literally all, that's just a minute or two.
Yeah, that's all. That's just get started. So I'm going to call this like road rage, right? You know how road rage is, and I have it sometimes.
Oh, especially in South Florida. Right? Road rage is crazy down here.
Yeah, you know what I've noticed is there's kind of two types of traffic here. Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's the traffic that is just flying all over the place like crazy. And then on the other side of the traffic is people are just taking their dear sweet time. Yeah. And that there's nothing in the middle. No. They're flying down the road, weaving in and out. I'm not going to really admit if that was me at times or not, but
I'm raising my hand right now.
But yeah, so for me, when I see somebody that makes the choice to, let's just be frank, wallow in their self-pity and wallow in their problems and all those things, and I really have to check myself and say, hey, wait a minute, I have to understand their story. What can I do to help? All those things. But there are moments that I'm like, snap out of it, right? Yeah. Don't just stay in that place. And it's kind of like that road rage. Yeah. And you're just kind of putzing along in the left lane, and you shouldn't be. And help me understand that a little bit better for what you've gone through, right? Do you find those moments? Yeah,
definitely. And there is a season, a moment for everything. And it's okay to feel down. Yeah. It's okay to feel depressed. We all struggle with that. We just can't allow ourselves to stay there. Yeah. So again, noticing how we feel, being aware of how we feel, and then choosing to either move forward or backwards. But the choice is up to you. And there's not a single person that can make it for you or make you do it. You have to want it.
Yeah.
You have to choose it. So you wake up, okay, I feel sad today. I feel depressed.
So you're in the left lane going slow.
You're putting along.
Yeah.
You're the Sunday driver that people are honking at and swerving by. They don't want anything to do with you right now. That is okay.
As long as
we've
you're not
all
in
been
reverse.
there. Correct. Well, sometimes reverse happens too. So
don't be in the left lane.
Yeah.
You might crash. And that's my point, like, right?
So to stay there.
Help us understand. Yeah. Just to keep moving forward.
Yeah. And as a girl who struggled with depression and the season of grief, man, it's real. And it's okay to feel. But I had to choose for myself and have that prayer of, God, help me.
Yeah.
And choose to move the body and shift the mind towards a blessing, to notice something so little as my breath, my inhale and my exhale.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. That's a gift in the day. And that's what I've been given. And then to notice a person, a loved one, that there's another blessing. If you have food in your belly right now, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Or if you're able to have the means of eating something later, it's such a gift. So it's noticing the little things, the beauty outside.
Right.
It helps you shift over into the fast lane.
Yeah.
So you're going from the slow left lane to the fast lane, and you'll notice how the mind, we have to train our mind. Our mind is like a muscle, and you can't just walk into the gym and start throwing around heavy dumbbells.
Right.
You have to grab the little ones and start from there. So if you're in a season of grief, I just want to encourage you. You can change that. You can make the choices for a faster forward moving momentum, but it starts with noticing the little things and building up the muscle mind, training it to see the glass half full, not half empty.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're helping others do the same thing. And we crave what we feed ourselves. We crave what we feed ourselves physically, emotionally, what we listen to. What you do is what you crave. So if you wake up and just set the day with a few simple things in the morning of stretching the body. If it's wintertime, you're in Minnesota, you don't want to go outside to work out. Just stretch the body in the house and do a high plank, get the blood circulating, and then sit down, read the Proverbs or the Psalms for the day or something else you want to meditate on, as long as it's something positive.
So there's a lot of people that I speak with and run into and ask me questions, and I believe, share the same faith. And it's cliche, isn't it? Like, you talk about Proverbs and Psalms and reading it and praying and God. There's somebody out there right now listening that's struggling with that, right? And in your opinion, what is that? What are we instructed to do as people of faith and belief and things like that?
From my experiences in my own life and other people's lives, it's really easy to get mad at God, to get angry at him, or just to think he doesn't exist, because there are a lot of bad things that happen. Bad things happen to good people. Bad things are happening all the time. And then I realized the car I bought came with this manual that said, put gas in it, change the oil, service it. And I thought, I wish I came with a manual or I had a map for my life, because sometimes I don't know what to choose or what to do. And somebody put it to me this way: you did come with a manual, and it's the Bible. You don't have to believe it now, but just examine it as your manual. And if it says put gas in it, change the oil, do this, don't do that, you'll live the best possible way that you can live. And once I started to follow those guidelines, to pray, to meditate on what is true, pure, holy, and right, it really is a map for my life, a manual. And this faith then starts to grow. Faith is not something that we can see. So it's hard for us. But throughout the seasons, as I was opening up the Bible, even in times of not belief, but just examining it as a map for my life, it started to give me confidence and wisdom, peace about making certain decisions. So I do think that people say, I do have faith in the Bible, or I don't have faith, I have faith in something else, but we're always putting our faith in something.
Yeah, that's so true. A job or a relationship or something else. Yeah.
So looking at it as a manual or a map for your life and following it that way, my faith has grown because it's never failed me.
Because it seems like it's been challenged.
Yeah.
And it's grown because it's been challenged.
Yeah. There's a lot of truth too in the Proverbs that I meditate on and teach on. For example, life and death is in the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. Life and death is in the tongue, so we have to speak life into others and ourselves. That's where speaking positive affirmations and looking at who God says I am help free me from the awful slump I was in, the depression. God says I'm loved. Wow, I needed to be loved today because I don't feel loved. God says I'm never alone. He says I'm strong, courageous, beautiful, forgiven, free. There's so much in this day to be thankful for because of that there. And it's really brought this faith, this confidence in believing that it is truth.
Something that kind of came to mind was, I'm assuming that you have a person or people in your life or have been in your life since this has happened that you've been frustrated with, that they're sitting in depression and they're making the choice to stay in depression and not getting the help that they need or not liking the help that they're getting, right? I run into that all the time. Wow, in order to fix my broken arm, I have to put it in a cast. Right? You have to put it in a cast. Let it heal. You have to take steps to heal, whether that be all kinds of different methods. But what I'm saying is what advice do you have for that person or those people that are stuck, that you just can't? Two things. How do you get unstuck?
Funny you say that because I do work in rehab centers. I teach in rehab centers and I see people stuck or they move forward and then they come right back there. And I thought, hey, wait a minute, I saw you 6 months ago. What are you doing here again? Well, I got away from choosing to do what I needed to do. I chose differently and now I'm right back here. So the question is, what do you do to get unstuck? You choose differently. You don't want to repeat the bad habits or the feelings and the grief that are keeping you stuck. And it's okay to feel. We're all going to feel sad, depressed sometimes. But that's where you have to choose, even when you don't think you can, to start looking at the blessings. And not only to look at them, I tell people to get unstuck, you're going to start speaking truth out loud. So if you're feeling depressed, you're not going to say, wow, I feel sad today. I want you to say, I am blessed. I feel good. And
look at this good thing.
Yes, it's so simple. Again, life and death being in the tongue. So we speak life into others and ourselves. Out loud, speaking life. I am worthy. I am loved. I am feeling good. I am making it a great day. And at first, a lot of emotion comes up when I do it and when others do that simple little step to get unstuck. A lot of emotion comes up and it's really hard to say. And then if you're feeling stuck, if you're home, able to look into a mirror and you say this in a mirror, it's really hard to do. I want you to try this later, Matt.
All right.
I want you to say the positive affirmations, things that you don't even believe that you are. And to
we talked about that a little bit, some of the struggles off camera that I have. And that's
we all
good
have
advice.
So whether it be you or someone listening to us right now, you're going to start speaking life into yourself. And at first, you're not going to believe it. But our thoughts predict our words and our words predict our future. So if you're stuck right now, you really have to start speaking differently than how you're feeling.
Nice.
If you say, I feel depressed, I don't want you to say I feel depressed.
Yeah.
I want you to say I feel good.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen as you do that day after day, and you can write this down.
Yeah.
I feel beautiful. I feel brave. I feel
Nobody
courageous.
writes anything anymore.
No.
Can I put it in my phone?
Put it in your phone in the notes
Right.
and then pull that up. But I want you to step in front of a mirror,
Yeah.
get close, look at yourself, and to say, I am brave. I am loved. I am forgiven.
Yeah.
And once you start to say these things, the emotions will come up. But this is what happened in my personal life and with others that I have taught this to, especially in rehab centers or private clients.
Yeah.
You step up to the mirror and it's not much time that passes by and you're like, yeah, I am loved. I am strong. I'm courageous. I am forgiven.
Yeah.
It's-
You need to become your cheerleader.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody else cares as much as you do.
Right.
And if you don't care, I just want you to start speaking into yourself,
Yeah.
speaking life into yourself. So if you're, again, if that answers your question, if you're feeling stuck, instead of just thinking that, because you're likely not thinking that, that's why you're stuck.
Right.
But you have to say it.
Yeah, it's like, I rented a Jeep, as you pointed out, when I pulled
Yes.
up to get here. And what if I were to get that Jeep stuck on the beach and I would just look at it and say, yep, I'm stuck.
You're going to be stuck
I'm
for
gonna
a
be
really
stuck
long time.
A long time, right?
The tide will probably start to shift. It's going to come up. It's going to make things worse. Your Jeep will disappear, wash away in the tide.
Yeah, and then I'm in a real world of trouble, right? So to get unstuck, I have to take action.
You
I
have to choose.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Again, it's so much easier to say than do.
is,
That's
yeah.
why if I can
But you've been there. You've been stuck.
Yeah.
You've as you have said, in depression and all these other things that have been challenges, you've been there.
Yeah.
So you understand that position.
Yeah.
So you can help people
Correct.
because you were there.
And there's times when you don't want to get out of the bed, you don't want to
Yeah.
eat, you can't eat. And I love food.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe I can't eat today. I feel so
Yeah.
heavy in my grief. Sometimes you can't even breathe. Like when you
Yeah.
get that phone call, your loved ones passed away, or you get the phone call and disease has struck the body, or when somebody tells you you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
It's even hard to breathe. So
Yeah.
how are you supposed to speak life into yourself at that time? You don't have to.
Yeah.
But I don't want you to stay in that. So to just be thankful for the breath, take one inhale and then the exhale, to be thankful for that.
Yeah.
And then out loud start to say, I am strong. I am an overcomer. I am brave. I am anointed to do great things. That's when you get unstuck.
Yeah. Good advice. Really good advice. Triumph. That's what it is, right? It is just taking those steps.
Yeah.
It's not having millions of dollars in the bank. It's not having a CEO job. It's not any of those things that the world might look at it and call it success,
Yeah.
or triumph, or whatever label you want to place on it. But it's simply that you take a step in a positive forward direction.
Correct.
It doesn't matter how stuck you are. There's always one step, one toe in front of the other, right?
You can be crawling forward. You don't even have to step. You can
Yeah.
crawl, because some
Yeah.
days I feel like I'm crawling, but I'm still going forward.
Good.
So
Good.
you got to choose, because you're going to move forward or you're going to move backwards.
Yeah.
And then to write things down or put it in your phone, like you said.
Yeah.
And start to speak truth into yourself and others, really watching our words. We have to be intentional with what we say.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Especially
ourselves.
to ourselves. Yeah. So right now, I know you were thinking about this, what was going to be talked about, and how were you going to respond, and some of those different things. But what I want you to do right now, whether you thought about it or not, as we wrap up, I want you to help one person right now. What would that look like?
Going back to the step I just gave and getting unstuck, I would just encourage you to start speaking truth into yourself. I know you don't believe it right now, but you have to start speaking it. You have to start saying positive things about yourself. You have to start looking at what God says about you, not what somebody else has said about you.
And whether you believe in God or not, he has said those things about you.
Correct.
Period. I mean, that's what I believe.
We often just tear ourselves apart. And I know there's somebody out there right now that's just ripping on themselves or letting an ex-spouse, ex-husband, ex-wife clinging on to things that they've said, or a disease allowing that to take a hold of their joy. And I just encourage you to start speaking it. Your thoughts will start to follow. You'll start to believe what you say, what you think. You're going to shift that. So right now in your grief, out loud, I want you to say, I am loved. I am an overcomer. I am beautiful. If you want to say I'm handsome instead, you can say that too, but you really are. I'm unique. I am one of a kind.
Beautiful.
You are,
nothing,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's so cool is that we're all different, we're all unique, and we try so hard to fit into this mold of what we're what we think we're supposed to. Yes.
Yeah.
But be bold.
Yeah.
Be different. You totally are.
Yeah.
No wonder why it's not working for you. Like, you're different, okay?
Right,
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Good advice. Tasha Tringale. How'd I do?
That's how you say it, or keep it Tosh for short. Yeah.
Tosh, thanks much for opening up your home to me and to all the people who are listening and viewing. And more than that, opening up your heart. Opening up your mind, opening up your soul for all of us to just look in, see all the beauty and see all the flaws, and how you've turned those, the ugliness into something that is extremely, extremely beautiful. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope that you have a good weekend, and I believe I heard it's your husband's birthday this weekend.
Yeah.
That's great.
Tomorrow. Yeah. And
I'm not sure when this is going to air, but, we'll all say happy birthday to him.
All right. Happy birthday to Cameron.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Good. Thanks, Tosh.
Thank you.